Lainey, here's what I need. I want to buy some bell bottoms from that camper. That's
We've
what I
got
want.
to do that. We're gonna do that. We'll figure that out.
Done. Hey everyone, it's your girl Emily Curl with iHeartRadio, and today we're joined by country music singer and songwriter Lainey Wilson. Hi Lainey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to hang.
I want to go back to the beginnings. We were just discussing this, but you are originally from Louisiana, but you've been in Nashville for 10 years, which is wild.
Yes, it is wild.
When did you first make that transition? When you're like, you know what, I'm fully moving to Nashville. I'm going to pursue this and I'm going to like fully go for music.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so crazy because I have always, even from like a really early age, I've always known that I was going to be in Nashville. My parents actually took me on a family vacation to Gatlinburg when I was 9, and I had 2 weeks before written my first song, and I had begged my parents on the way home to Louisiana to just drive through Nashville. I just wanted to see it. And I remember exactly where I was on the interstate. I was looking at the Batman building, and in the back seat, I said, "This is home." And so, to be honest with you, I've always known that this is where I was supposed to be. I didn't know how I was going to get here, but finally, at 19 years old, I bought a camper trailer and I hauled it up here, and I lived in it for.
You did not.
Yes, I did. For the first 3 years I was here, and like I said, in August of this year, I'll have been here for 10.
This is a side tangent. My sister just bought a camper and she loves
Wow.
it. She's been so much time there, and you forget like how homey those can be.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The ones they make now, they're awesome. Mine definitely was not like, what do they call it, glamping? No, mine was not glamping. Mine was, it was hanging on by a thread, but it did the job.
Oh my God, that's what you need. Now, growing up in Louisiana, what was that like? What country music were you listening to? Was that always a part of your family? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so country music for me and my household was really more than just a genre. It truly is like we lived out the lines of those country songs. I'm from a town of 300 people. I mean, 299 now that I left.
300?
300, girl.
Oh my
300.
God.
Yes, and they're all my family. I mean, we have a blinking light, a bunch of cornfields, and that's about it. That was our life. We loved us some country music through and through. Like I said, we lived every single line, and I grew up listening to a lot of Dolly Parton. On the tractor with my daddy, I'd listen to Hank Williams, Buck Owens, Glenn Campbell, just a little bit of everything. And 90s country is what I really kind of dove into growing up, and I think you can probably hear a little bit of that in mine.
I mean, so going from a town of 300 people to then moving to Nashville, what was that transition like? Were you overwhelmed? Did you think about giving up? I mean, that's a huge tradition, especially at a young age.
Oh my gosh. So I don't think I had ever really driven on an interstate, like a big interstate, until I made the move. It absolutely was culture shock. Everybody was talking about my accent, and I'm like, what accent? Y'all the ones with the accent. But
Oh yeah, buddy.
there were definitely times where, I absolutely probably should have packed my stuff and moved home. But I will tell you, this is the only thing I know how to do. And I've always just been the kind of person, I'm a little hard-headed and I guess a little borderline crazy, because I just like, this is it. There's no plan B.
Yeah.
Like plan A has got to work if you don't have a plan B. And I knew it was going to take a long time and it was going to be a big journey for me, but dang it. No,
You're here. It's
I'm
paying
here.
off. Now you sing what's called bell bottom country, which I love this term. For those who don't know, what exactly is bell bottom country?
The best way for me to explain bell bottom country is country with a flair. I am a sucker for, everything throwback. I mean, whether it's songs, music, whatever it is, I feel like those things come with a good story. And I'm also a sucker for a good story. So that's kind of where that like comes into play, but also just the words fresh but familiar, bell bottom country.
Fresh but familiar. That's funny. Now, do you have a lot of bell bottoms
Oh,
in your closet?
it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Like I sent a lot of my jeans home to my granny, and she like made them into bell bottoms. So yes,
So that's like your thing. That's like your signature is the bell bottoms.
that's it.
Do you collect bell bottoms? Like if you go to different places?
Oh girl, it's so crazy. So like there's this company called Little Bees Bohemian who we just created a little collection with, that will be out in a couple months or a month from now. So I'm excited to kind of put that out there for everybody, but they have a lot of my favorite stuff. I also just get a lot of my stuff from like thrift stores, and
yeah, I was gonna say. And now you have your new album out called Saying What I'm Thinking, which congratulations.
Thank you.
What exactly are you thinking in this album? Walk me through how this came to life.
Absolutely. Yes. Every word, every syllable, it truly is who I am, what I want to say and how I want to say it down to my core. And I'm so proud to have a project out there that really is unapologetically me. And, I've been pretty much saying what I'm thinking my whole life. So I figured, why not name the whole record that? And it's been such a fun process because we really used Saying What I'm Thinking, the title track, as really the foundation for, the rest of the record. We went through so many songs trying to figure out what we were putting on this project. And we ended up just really asking ourselves the question, whether it was Things a Man Ought to Know or Dirty Looks or What Would Dolly Do? We asked ourselves the question of, is this saying what I'm thinking? Which, made it a lot easier, but also pretty fun.
So I read somewhere that you had hundreds of songs that you'd created to pick for this album. Is that true?
Yeah, I've been writing songs since I was 9 years old, and we really went through thousands of songs. We finally dwindled it down to about 200, and then from there 50, and then kind of found that common denominator, which was Saying What I'm Thinking, and kind of ran with that. So, girl, we dug through there. I'm not saying every one of them's good, but
but you hand selected them. Was there one that you, now looking back, like, oh man, I wish I would have put that on the album? Or like, do you ever go back and think what you could have done differently? Or are you like, yes, this is the album, this is perfect?
Yeah, I feel like this collection of songs was supposed to be what it is, but there definitely are songs that it was heartbreaking that they didn't make the, cut. But at the end of the day, I feel like, if they're good enough, then whether it's 2 years or 10 years from now, they'll still have a time of their own. So like, I'm putting them on the shelf for a little while, but I think at some point in time, if they really are supposed to be shared with the world, then they'll kind of raise their hand again. So it's hard because, you pour your heart and your soul into all these songs, and you only use a handful of them, and trying to figure out which ones are really going to connect and people are going to relate to the most. I do feel like, these 12 songs were the 12 songs that were supposed to be on there, and are the ones that kind of really just tell my story and lay a good foundation of all the other things that I need to say.
Things a Man Ought to Know is my favorite on the album, I will say. What was the inspiration behind that song?
Yeah, so my co-writer, Jason Nix, had brought this idea in. I was like, oh, Lord, we're going to be here all day talking about all the things. And man, y'all need to clear the rest of your schedules.
True.
No, but we had a great time with it. But we really kind of, when we dove into it, we started talking about all the things that my parents taught me growing up. It was just me and my sister. We're 19 months apart, no boys in the family. So my daddy really kind of raised us a little bit like boys. So he made sure that we knew how to, change a tire or start a fire, turn a wrench, all those things. But more importantly than that, my family really made sure that I knew the certain characteristics that I was supposed to look for in other people and in myself. And the song is really just about treating people the way that you want to be treated and having good character. It's about the golden rule, and that's not something that just a man ought to know how to do. That's something that every single one of us need to know.
Absolutely. So well said. And now you recently just had your Opry debut. Congratulations. What was that experience like for you?
Unbelievable. I'm talking about it was everything and more I could have imagined. And I'm just so honored that they invited me. And it's so crazy because I'm talking about extremely nervous, just pacing back and forth, just sweating through my clothes. But as soon as I stepped foot on stage and into that circle, I did have this weird feeling of just like I was at home. And I did feel like, I have work to be here and I do deserve it. And I'm so honored that I get to stand on the same piece of wood that all my heroes have stood. And, I've got some big shoes to try and fill. And it's just such an honor.
All right, Lainey, I thought we could play a little game in honor of your album, Saying What I'm Thinking. So we pulled a few Instagram photos, and I want you to tell us a little BTS of what went into each photo and say exactly what you were thinking.
Sounds great.
All right, so let's bring up photo number 1.
This is me and my horse. I have had this horse since I was 8. And this is my baby. I don't get to ride him near enough. This was actually when I was home during quarantine. I got to go take him out for a little trail riding. And, I always relate riding horses to what I do and this crazy ride. I mean, I remember actually it was him. My daddy brought him home from the horse sale, and he put me on him, and he was bucking. He was not broke. He was like just a baby. He was a colt. And I remember him bucking and me crying and wanting down, and I was like, let me off. But my daddy told me, he was like, no, you hang on. You better hang on. And it has really been that way. I mean, I have carried that lesson right there over into, everything that I do from now on, because it really is a crazy ride. And the thing is, like, if you feel like you're about to fall off, you better hold on tighter. So my horse taught me that lesson. So that's my baby.
And what's his name?
His name is Tex.
Tex the horse. I love it. Okay, let's see photo number 2, Lainey. Is this the Opry?
Yes, that was one of the best days of my entire life right there.
How did you decide what bell bottoms you were going to wear?
So I was specifically saving these bell bottoms for that moment. These bell bottoms actually come from a lady who custom makes them out of New Orleans called Cat 09. And she like gets your measurements, does it, whatever. But I just knew these were the pants. When I think of the Grand Ole Opry, I think of red. And I remember visiting the Grand Ole Opry for the first time when my parents took me on that family vacation. And I just went with the color red. I just felt like country music, red.
I'm loving these bell bottoms too.
Oh, girl.
They're
I don't know
everywhere.
where those are from. They're everywhere. So this was me writing for my record. This was about 3 or so weeks before we went into the studio with Jay Joyce. And I remember just being so excited that I was about to go in there and cut my first record with a label, and with a major label, and just being on cloud 9. But also we were on a retreat in Florida. And I remember just sitting there thinking, how cool is it that I get to do music for a living? When I moved to Nashville, I didn't even know there was such thing as a publishing deal. I didn't know you could get paid to write music. And I was just sitting there thinking, wow, this is my life. I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful. This is cool. This is my camper trailer that I moved to Nashville in. I was 19, and I'm telling you, there were some rough times. The tornadoes would roll through. I'd hear the sirens going off. A lot of times I've had to just hold on.
Tex needs a shout out.
I know. And the camper trailer really kind of taught me the same thing, that this wasn't going to be easy. But, I'm glad I did it. It taught me perseverance. It told me that ain't nothing easy. If you want something, you got to work for it. I will tell you, I wouldn't go back and trade it for anything, because it really has made me super, super grateful for all the big and small opportunities that have come my way.
Do you still have the trailer, the camper?
I don't have it, but I know who has it. And when he gets finished with it, I was like, when you sell it, I want to buy it back.
What is he doing? Is he doing the same thing?
So he's working on a oil rig right now, like on a land rig. So he's kind of like living out of it. So I'm sure it already needed a lot of work when I sold it, but I would love to get it back, replace the floors, and kind of do like this little thing where you take it on the road and maybe sell some merch out of it, or do some meet and greets, and it just be taking a little piece of me going on the road.
Lainey, here's what I need. I want to buy some bell bottoms from that camper. That's
We've
what I want.
got to do that. We're going to do that. We'll figure that out.
Okay, Lainey, last Instagram. Let's see it. Is this home? Where is this?
No. So this is Yellowstone. This is the show Yellowstone, which I'm not sure if you've seen it, but it is
my
the coolest
family's
show.
My family's obsessed. It's on my next watch list.
Girl.
They love it. They love it.
And the cowboys look great. I'm telling you.
Good to know.
But also the music is great. A few years ago, Taylor Sheridan ended up putting one of my songs from one of my self-titled EPs before I had a record deal into the show. And then I got to know him and became friends with him, and we kind of bonded over the whole horse thing. Since then, he's put 2 more of my songs in there, and it's really kind of introduced my music to a crowd of people that might not listen to radio, or might not know anything about download music, that just watch TV. So it's been a cool thing for me, and I got to go out there and play a private show for the cast and crew this past August, which was just awesome.
Lainey Wilson, thank you so much for your time.
You.
It was so great getting to know you better, and can't wait to listen to more of the album. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate y'all.
Of course. And thank you all for watching. Make sure you stream all of Lainey Wilson's music on iHeartCountry, and we'll see you next time.